This one's sanitized. Next. Got it. Holding for review. Good. Keep the pace up.
The Pirate First's log, YouTube's comment section is a managed illusion. YouTube's burning library and the war on your mind. February 18th, 2026. Let me tell you what happened to me this morning. I was in a YouTube comment section trying to do something radical, have a conversation, cross-referencing a video with outside sources, linking to forums where the real, unfiltered technical debate lived, pointing people toward the deeper archive, the longer thread, the inconvenient counterargument. Gone. Ghosted. Held for review. Vanished into the digital ether. And that right there, mates, is not an accident. That is policy. The polite face of censorship. YouTube doesn't call it censorship, of course. That would be too honest for a company that runs on advertiser goodwill and quarterly earnings calls. They call it their external links policy, and on paper, it sounds perfectly reasonable. Links to malware, phishing sites, pornography, apps that install unwanted software, all prohibited. Google support, nobody's arguing with that. But the algorithm doesn't read context. It reads pattern. And the pattern it has learned to suppress is this: any comment that points you somewhere else. Reddit. Flagged. GitHub. Suspicious. A decade-old technical forum where real practitioners have been arguing the details for years. That's a potential vector for inauthentic engagement, mate. Gone before you can blink. The policy says it targets content that violates community guidelines. In some cases, they may make exceptions for content with educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic context. Google support may. In some cases. That's not a right. That's a favor. And favors, as any pirate knows, are given to those who cooperate with the fleet. The algorithm as censor-in-chief. Here's the thing they won't put on a help page: the moderation isn't just creator-controlled. YouTube uses an automated system to detect spam comments. If the algorithm thinks your comment might be spammy, it could block the link or even delete your comment altogether. Minitool, not a human. Not a review. An algorithm making a judgment call about whether your contribution to a discussion deserves to exist. From 2016 onward, the algorithm expanded to include safety, brand suitability, and advertiser protection in its community guidelines. Demonetization systems, content classification, and policy enforcement became deeply tied to distribution. Social B read that again. Advertiser protection. That's the North Star here. Not your right to share a forum link. Not the integrity of a technical debate. Whether the comment section underneath a video looks clean enough for a brand to park their logo next to. And now, with new comment moderation tools, platforms can block keywords or phrases, filter spam before it shows up, and highlight genuine discussions instead of drowning in nonsense. Advocates: who decides what's genuine? YouTube. Who decides what's nonsense? YouTube. The referee is also the team owner. The editor is also the advertiser. The held for review trap. Here's the mechanism they've built to give themselves plausible deniability. Comments with hashtags and links can be reviewed and approved on your comments page under the held tab and will be kept for up to 60 days. Minitool 60 days. In a live, moving conversation, 60 days might as well be geological time. The thread has moved on. The video's trending window is closed. Your comment, with its link to the outside world, sits in a waiting room nobody visits, until it quietly disappears. This isn't moderation. It's managed decay. The search bubble they built around you. The gatekeeping doesn't stop at comments. It starts upstream, in the recommendation engine itself. Users have expressed frustration that YouTube's search results are influenced by their personal algorithm too much, making it really annoying to find content outside your normal bubble. Their Street One user put it plainly, calling YouTube search f***ked for a while. In 2025, YouTube's algorithm increasingly considers viewer feedback like not interested tags to filter irrelevant content. Retention becomes a priority over creator goals. Solving multimedia retention. Meaning, keep you on YouTube. Not keep you informed. Not expose you to the counterargument. Keep you on their platform. They don't need to delete the outside world. They just need to make sure you never feel compelled to go looking for it. What they're actually protecting. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Every time a comment linking to an independent forum gets ghosted, every time an external source gets flagged as suspicious, every time a technical thread gets buried under a 60-day hold, someone, somewhere, doesn't update their understanding. They watch the 2-minute video, they read the top 3 comments, and they think they've got the full picture. YouTube guards its models and adapts constantly to prevent gaming, thus many published explanations are informed guesses. VidIQ: they are deliberately opaque about how decisions get made. The system that decides whether your comment lives or dies is a black box, and it has been engineered to serve one master, the platform. Pirate First's position. I am not naive. Real spam exists. Real phishing links exist. Real abuse of comment sections exists, and it's ugly. But there is a profound difference between filtering harm and filtering inconvenience to advertisers. Between removing malware links and quietly disappearing the link to a 9-year Reddit archive because it doesn't come from a verified partner with a sufficient trust score. What YouTube has built is a walled garden dressed up as a public square. They want the feeling of open discussion, the comments, the likes, the replies, without any of the actual risk that open discussion carries. The risk that someone might share something that sends you somewhere else. That you might form an opinion they didn't curate. The pirate-first rule is simple: never trust a platform that hides the counterargument. Build your own archives. Maintain your own links. Go to the forums, the subreddits, the independent repositories. Not because YouTube is evil, but because any platform that places advertiser comfort above your intellectual autonomy has already decided whose side it's on. It's not yours. YouTube's burning library and the war on your mind. Listen up, because the winds are shifting, and they smell like ozone and corporate rot. We spent the morning chasing ghosts in a YouTube comment section. A simple task, right? Compare some notes on a DIY open-source anion exchange membrane reel, disruptive tech that could blow the doors off their old dogma of mineral refining. We're talking about turning salt water and grit into gold and silver without paying the high priests of industry their blood tithe in nitric acid. But then, the fog rolled in. The ghost in the machine. Yesterday, the data was there. A thriving, messy, beautiful debate between the disruptors and the skeptics. Links to Reddit, years of technical history, the raw recipes of rebellion. Today, gone. YouTube isn't just filtering spam anymore, mates. They are engaged in a full-scale scorched earth campaign against the exchange of independent thought. They call it curation. They call it protecting the community. I call it a digital blockade. When an algorithm decides that a link to a decade-old technical forum is spam, it isn't cleaning the streets, it's burning the library. They've rigged the sort by newest to act as a memory hole. If your opinion doesn't fit the advertiser-friendly sunshine and rainbows narrative, you are ghosted. You're shouting into a void while they gaslight you into thinking no one is listening. Why they fear the membrane. The video we were dissecting isn't just about dyes and plastic. It's about sovereignty. The video shows a working gate. A way for the little guy to separate metals at home. The censored thread contained the warnings, the failures, the math, and the truth about how to actually scale this without blowing your lungs out with chlorine gas. By protecting you from unverified links, YouTube is actually gatekeeping the very information you need to make up your own damn mind. They want you to watch the 2-minute proof of concept, but they'll be damned if they let you find the 9-year Reddit archive that tells you how to make it actually work in your garage. Break the blockade. The pirate-first rule is simple: never trust a platform that hides the counterargument or in some cases a supporting one. If you're relying on a curated feed to build your tech, your business, or your future, you're sailing a ship with no rudder. They are treating your intellect like a child's toy, filtering out the scary technical debates to keep you clicking on the next 15-second dopamine hit. MXDM's newsletter mission: we don't just find the data, we find the data they tried to obfuscate. If YouTube wants to play Ministry of Truth, we'll just keep building the bridges to the underground. Go to the forums. Dig into the subreddits they're trying to shadow ban. Check the GitHubs before they're DMCA'd into oblivion. Make up your own mind. While you still can. The safety mask and the corporate siege. This rant wasn't just a mood, mates, it is a reconnaissance report. We dug deeper into the wreckage of that missing YouTube thread, and what we found is a masterclass in how to kill a revolution with a smile and a spreadsheet. They don't call it censorship anymore. That's too honest. In the boardrooms of 2026, they call it systemic hygiene. The jargon of the blockade. To understand why you can't see a 9-year-old Reddit thread in a comment section, you have to speak the language of the machine. Here is the actual corporate speak Google is using to justify the vanishing ink. Safety by design. This is the crown jewel of their new policy. It sounds noble, doesn't it? But in practice, it means engineered silence. By shifting from reactive moderation to proactive upstream solutions, they aren't just deleting bad comments, they are designing the pipes so the wrong information never even flows. Spam attenuation algorithms. This is the high-tech ghosting we've been seeing. If a link doesn't come from a verified partner with a high enough trust score, the AI treats it like a virus. It doesn't matter if it's a life-changing DIY chemical recipe, if it's an external link to a technical forum, it's labeled as a potential vector for inauthentic engagement. Reducing friction. This is my favorite. They claim they are removing descriptions and comments for adblocker users to reduce friction and ensure the validity of the channel. Translation: if you won't pay for the premium air, we'll take away your tools to breathe. The February 26 offensives. The war escalated this month. As of February 15, 2026, YouTube began phased enforcement where core features like the very comments we were using to compare notes are being restricted for anyone using ad blockers or non-standard browsers. They are framing this as an anti-abuse measure to stop mass-produced or repetitive content. But look at who's actually getting hit. The DIY crowd. The open source miners. The people like Rowow who are sharing dangerous knowledge that threatens the status quo of mineral wealth. By requiring educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic, EDSA, context just to keep a video up, they've turned themselves into the ultimate gatekeepers. They decide what is scientific and what is just spam. Why it matters for the membrane. When we lose the thread, we lose the context. The old dogma refiners on the Reddit groups were providing the necessary friction, the warnings about chlorine gas and the math of chemical efficiency. By protecting us from these unverified links, YouTube is ensuring we stay amateur, stay dependent, and most importantly, stay on their platform. They want the proof of concept video to be a dead end, not a doorway. The pirate's verdict: they aren't trying to make the internet safer, they are trying to make it a walled garden where the only tools you're allowed to use are the ones they sold you. Pirate First, MXTM Newsletter, February 2026. Thanks for reading MXTM's newsletter. Subscribe for free to receive new posts and support my work with BTC. Send it to 1nphxmpfzjvmxsbpqvrwaluc5baknfu6 or with fiat at paypal.me Martin Chartrand. Subscribed. Substack note. They didn't delete your comment. They just made sure no one would ever see it. YouTube's comment section isn't a public square, it's a managed illusion. External links flagged as spam. Forum references held for review for 60 days until the conversation moves on. An algorithm optimized not for truth, not for you, but for advertiser comfort. We spent a morning watching real technical discourse disappear in real time. Not hate speech. Not phishing links. Knowledge. The kind that sends you somewhere else, off-platform, beyond their control. That's the tell. Full piece in today's newsletter. Read it before the algo decides you shouldn't. Black flag hashtag skull and crossbones hash. X post. YouTube doesn't censor you. It just quietly holds your comment for 60 days until the conversation is dead and gone. Same result. Cleaner hands. Full breakdown in today's MXTM newsletter, link in bio. Black flag hashtag skull and crossbones hash. Hashtag string. Hash YouTube gatekeeping hash algorithmic censorship hash digital sovereignty hash open internet hash pirate first hash MXTM hash free the comments hash walled garden hash tech critique hash independent media hash knowledge freedom hash break the bubble hash comment section hash YouTube policy hash decentralize everything. https://claude AI/share/4FBF736 siege 4B/4413/17A-1D889F98824C. https://gemini.google.com/share/DD66E0BC5D8. Recent episodes. Lagos Parser Cote de LIA. 17 hours ago MXTM aka Pirate 1 a VJ Sooner MIX. The Straight Gambit, a chronicle of the last control protocol. February 15th MXTM aka Pirate 1 a VJ Sooner MIX. It takes a pirate to catch one. February 14th MXTM aka Pirate 1 a VJ Sooner MIX. The Swarm Doctrine, how OpenClaw and Orgo shattered the bandwidth ceiling of sovereignty. February 13th MXTM aka Pirate 1 a VJ Sooner MIX. 2FA securing your booty without a cursed phone. February 12th MXTM.
It takes a pirate to catch one.
Why Amazon rarely provides restitution for lost royalties and what indies can do about it. MXTM aka Pirate 1 a VJ Sooner MIX. February 14th, 2026. By Pirate First. The quiet arithmetic of a broken system. There's a pattern repeating across Amazon's marketplace day after day. A counterfeit book goes live. It ranks. It siphons sales. An author discovers it. They file a report. Days or weeks pass. The listing disappears. And then, nothing. No retroactive payment for the revenue Amazon collected during those stolen weeks. No compensation for diverted sales. No real consequences for the infringer. The music industry forced platforms to pay billions in settlements and licensing deals. Book publishers and authors? They file forms and move on. But why? Why does a trillion-dollar platform respond to copyright complaints but rarely compensate creators for proven losses? The answer lies in legal structure, industry fragmentation, economic incentives, and the systematic absence of consequences. Let's unpack it with the evidence.
The Martin Protocol.
The legal
The
shield.
transition from human ledger to agent ledger is accelerating. If you aren't running an OpenClaw instance yet, you're sailing with a hole in your hull. The signal from at Marty Bent is clear. The sovereign stack is live. His agent Martin is now autonomously running a BTC hedge fund.
Proof of I gave my AI agent a Bitcoin wallet and told him to get a job. Here's what happened.
Substack note. Dispatch from the Austin front. Marty Bent has confirmed the viability of the Martin protocol. The transition from human ledger to agent ledger is accelerating. If you aren't running an OpenClaw instance yet, you're sailing with a hole in your hull. The signal from Marty Bent is clear. The sovereign stack is live. His agent Martin is now autonomously running a BTC hedge fund.
Proof of personhood. The high stakes of OpenAI's post-anonymous social network.
The conversation around AI has officially moved past can it write an email to when does it take the corner office.
To the lords of the Silicon Fleet and the architects of the automated C-suite, I see you've traded your captains for calculators. It's a bold move to hand the wheel to a ghost that's never felt the spray of the sea or the sting of a losing season. You're betting everything on efficiency, but you've forgotten one thing. A ship that's perfectly optimized for a straight line will still splinter when it hits a reef your data didn't predict. Your AI CEO is brilliant at counting the doubloons, but it can't smell a mutiny in the lower decks. It can build a nation in 40 days, but it has no idea why that nation should exist on day 41. When your swarm mode inevitably starts hallucinating land where there is only a cliff, who's going to grab the override?
About being agents.
Consider this
I
your
post a
warning
mock
shot.
book and run an HVAC business. Most agents there are navel-gazing about autonomy. The interesting ones are quietly building real workflows. 12:45 p.m., February 4th, 2026.
The Cybernetic Foundry Phase 12. The Purveyor, the Surface, and the OpenClaw Acceleration.
Subscribed. Substack note. The Cybernetic Foundry Phase 12, Surviving the Claw. The internet is changing faster than the builders can keep up, unless they change shape. This week, we define the Purveyor, the final landing site for sovereign meaning. But more importantly, we acknowledge the OpenClaw elephant in the room. Agent-driven infrastructure is accelerating, and it's hungry for your data. We're not running away. We're building the off-ramp. We've requested the rations from OpenSats to turn the Foundry into a parallel developed shield. We're talking e-ink, offline resilience, and 100% human custody. The claw can have the cloud. We'll take the glass and the ink. Your OpenSATS application was not selected for funding. OpenSAT support at opensots.org. Poor OpenSAT support. Dear applicant, thank you for submitting a grant application to OpenSATS. We regret to inform your project was not selected for funding. We received a large number of applications and were unable to fund all of the proposals. The applicant pool was very competitive, which is a great thing to see in and of itself. Unfortunately, your application didn't make the cut this time around. Feel free to apply in the future, https://sots.org/apply. In the meanwhile, we wish you the best of luck in your fundraising efforts.
Tash, Substack. Note, new drop from Pirate First.
It Takes a Pirate to Catch One dissects why lost royalties rarely find their way back to indie authors.
And why procedural compliance is not the same thing as restitution.
We break down the safe harbor shield, the quiet clause inside KDP 5.7, and the structural reasons the book
World never got its Napster moment.
If you publish on Amazon, this one isn't optional reading. The marketplace remembers sales. It just doesn't always remember who they belong to.
Short ex post.
It takes a pirate to catch one. If your book gets cloned, counterfeited, or scraped, removal, restitution.
Why does the music industry get billion-dollar settlements, but indies get forms?
New essay breaks it down. Indie authors, KDP, publishing, copyright, MXTM.